Bad Brad Berkwitt Show is all about moving humanity forward and fighting for democracy. And remember, folks, every act of kindness is a little love we leave behind. Hey, folks, the man with the pinky ring and the New York thing. Forget about it. Bad Brad Berkwitt. And welcome to the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show on the Ringside Report web TV channel. Forget about it. Hey folks, this is Bad Brad Berkwitt, the host of the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show on the Ringside Report web TV channel. And I want to talk to you about sponsorship. If you're interested in being a sponsor on the Bad Brad Berkwitt Show that features network guests and entertainers and people from all walks of life in business and other areas, reach out to me at ringsidereport2014@gmail.com. Again, that's ringsidereport2014@gmail.com. I'm finally in a position that I'm ready to take on sponsors. So, hey, reach out to me and let's get you on board. I want to talk to you about my book, Boxing Interviews of a Lifetime. If you watch my show, The Bad Brad Berkwitt Show, you know that I love doing 360 conversations with all types of people. Well, I made my bones in boxing over a quarter of a century ago, interviewing world champion boxers, people in the sport, and entertainers that love the sport of boxing, which led to my induction into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame in June of 2021. And that's the ring that you see me wear all the time on my show. Well, if you'd like to pick up my book, Boxing Interviews of a Lifetime, go to authorhouse.com. Again, it's authorhouse.com. And if you would like to get it personally inscribed or inscribe for somebody that you're sending to as a gift, you can reach out to me and we can arrange for something as well. Well, folks, my return guest today is my brother, who's off of his hit documentary From Russia with Lev. He's also the author of the book Shadow Diplomacy, Lev Parnas, Wild Ride from Brooklyn to Donald Trump's Inner Circle. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to my show, the one and only Lev Parnas.
Oh, all right.
All right. Well, first of all, good. Over there, good afternoon, and welcome back, Lev. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, my man. Thank you for having me, Brad. How you been?
I've been good. I've been good, like you. Busy. Couple things going on in the country right now, huh? Let's do this, Lev. I want to right out the gate. I want to discuss your hit documentary From Russia with Lev, but I want to ask you a little different question you probably got asked before. If you had to guess how many bottles of ketchup that racist, misogynistic pig, treasonous traitor, lying grifter, convicted felon Donald Trump threw when he watched it, what would you estimate the number of bottles of ketchup were?
I think they locked up the ketchup that day. I think they cleared the ketchup. They were prepared before he watched it. You could have saw his reaction. First of all, the silence from everybody. I mean, the deafening silence. Not even a response to say I lied. Not even a response to say this is all fake or nothing. Just silence. Just let it make it ignore it and make it go away, change the news cycle. But an interesting part he did do, which a lot of people might have not realized, but it was a direct response to the movie, because the movie was, 10% of, not even 10% of what actually transpired in that criminal mind of Trump world that I was involved with. And that's why I wrote the book Shadow Diplomacy, that goes into everything, from the Venezuela conflict to the Turkey involvement and so on, and deeper dive into what happened into Ukraine. But the interesting part was that they concentrated on the first impeachment. Mm-hmm. And then what Trump's response was, not only was it silence, but he literally forced the Speaker of the House, if you recall, to come out and make a statement similar to what happened in 2020 by now trying to get rid of the Ukrainian ambassador because supposedly she meddled in our elections. And right after that, he went to meet, he told Zelensky to meet with him in New York. The interesting part of the meeting is right before they came out, if you look at their press conference, the first thing out of Trump's mouth was when Zelensky was standing, was that I did nothing wrong in the impeachment. Everything was all right in the impeachment. This was a phony fake. President Zelensky standing right beside me and basically used him as a tool to try to deflect from the movie. So he took it very seriously. The whole GOP took it seriously. There were phone calls, frantic phone calls, going back and forth how they should respond. And the response from Trump world was keep quiet, deflect, and we'll change the news cycle, just like they did.
Okay. Many were in tears when you met with Hunter Biden at the end, which everybody I talked to said they were in tears. Talk about that moment from the viewers, and I know you've been asked probably a lot about that particular part of the documentary, but is there something that you haven't been asked about that part, or something that you can share about the ending with Hunter Biden?
I mean, there's a lot that I still haven't shared, and I think there's a lot to the story that still is yet to be told. But I want to leave that to when Hunter's ready to tell that story himself, also, and maybe we'll share it jointly because about a lot of that story has to do with him also. But for me personally, it was obviously I cried myself because I couldn't believe that I was given, God gave me the opportunity to be able to not only ask for forgiveness, but for Hunter to be able to accept my forgiveness and be able to, uh, it humbled me to such a degree that I can't imagine. I think out of that whole movie, that was probably the biggest message that I think people should go away and take away with it, is that if Hunter Biden could forgive me, the man that basically was involved in everything that happened bad in his life, destroyed his life, his family, and he could forgive me, then we could unite as this country once we get rid of Donald Trump. And that's what, this should be about, because Donald Trump has divided this country to such a degree that we have, kids and parents not talking, relatives not sitting at the table at holidays. It has to stop. America has to get back united. And I think that message was the most powerful thing in the movie.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And it's funny watching Hunter, he has so many mannerisms of his father. It really does. It's like looking at a young Joe. I know I'm not saying they look identical, they favor, but his mannerisms, his cadence of the way he talks is so much like a young Joe.
It's amazing, yeah. And when you meet him in person, very much you get a lot of that, and he does look a lot like Joe. So
Yeah, he does. He does.
he does, and the mannerism, I agree with you 100%.
Okay. October 23rd, you put out a tweet on Leon's platform, and for everybody says, didn't you mean to say Elon? No, I meant to say Leon because that's what Trump called him at a rally. Leon. So you said, my sources in Trump world are telling me that some devastating news is about to break. Stay tuned, trying to find out what it is. What is it, Lev?
Well, I've had a lot of DMs. People are texting me, and one of the things is I don't want to spread rumors, and that's one of the things I use my platform very carefully. Important. I do have sources in Trump world, a lot of very close sources, and I, have to be very careful because some of the stuff I have to vet very carefully before it comes out, because even the sources that I have in Trump world, I don't trust fully all the time because of the stuff they might want to try to leak and interfere. So there's rumors about a video that is going to be devastating, something that has to do with a donor and an underage girl. But again, I haven't vetted it. I haven't seen it. It's come from one source. I'm trying to get at least another one or two sources to validate it, but I haven't got a chance to do that yet. So that's why stay tuned.
Okay, well, correct me if I'm wrong, Lev. Let me ask you this. And if I thought I saw this, but I'm not 100%. Didn't Lara Trump or somebody come out and say it's AI before it even broke? Did you see that or hear that factual?
Well, that's I've been hearing. I haven't seen exactly, but I did see others. I didn't see Lara Trump's, but I've seen
Okay.
others saying, pretending that there's some AI video that's about to come out, that it's all the Democrats. So again, I don't know if it's the same video they're talking about, if
Okay.
it's the same thing. That's why I don't want to just. I did speak to a source very close inside that did tell me that there is a video, that they're shocked and that they're scared to come out. That's why I put my tweet out. But like I said, stay tuned because I'm
Okay.
vetting it to make sure. But hopefully we get something soon. Could be any minute. Could be I
Okay.
could get a call while we're talking now.
Yeah, no kidding. And the reason why I mentioned AI thing is, I mean, I have nobody that can say that's factual. However, the fact that they said AI, because that's what they do. Everything with Trump is fake. He never said. I don't know if you remember this. I was telling Debbie the other night we were having dinner. I said, "Do you remember?" And it's always, "Do you remember?" Because there's so much shit to remember with freaking Trump. Is he even tried to say that the Hollywood Access tape was fake and it went nowhere,
Yep.
which is like a Roy
Right.
Cohen, right out of Roy Cohen's play. Deny, deny, deny.
Deny.
And it went nowhere. People probably don't even remember this, but I remember it, that he tried to say it was fake and then it went nowhere. So they move on to the next, million things that come up about him.
Well, the one thing that I think is also very important to look at is not only do they deny, which you're 100% right, Brad, but is that whenever something really bad's about it, they pretense it and right away try to blame the Democrats. I've been
Yes.
also seeing a lot of chatter going on the past couple of days that there's a video of supposedly Kamala Harris and P. Diddy or some party, even Santos, that ex-congressman George Santos came
Yep.
out trying to say there's some big news coming out. So that chatter and that tweets tells me that there is something there. But again, I don't want to go into it, or I don't want
Understand.
to
Totally understand.
until because my platform is very important to get the truth out and make sure we get facts out and not just get involved in there in the
Absolutely.
back to back.
Absolutely. In my platform, the same thing. I call out the left and the right when they do things that is not true. I don't like that
Absolutely.
for clicks and money. Let me ask you a question. I know you went to prison for a little while. Are you still able to vote in Florida or no?
No, it's interesting. No, even though Donald Trump's a convicted criminal, he went and voted, but I'm not able to vote because I'm still on probation. Even though I finished my sentence, I'm a convicted felon. I have to finish my probation, and then I have to. I don't know what the actual rules are when I will be able to get my voting rights back.
Okay. When you and your wife see the misogyny and racism of Donald Trump daily towards, and it's not just him, but I'm calling him out specifically because he leads the pack, towards Vice President Harris, what goes through your guys' mind?
I mean, it's just, PTSD of the resemblance of what he used to do with, the same thing similar he did with, Hillary Clinton. And then, he did with Joe Biden. It's the same tactic. It doesn't matter if it's a male, female. It's just that race card. It's that massage. It's whatever he could use, if it's your color, your race, your weight, your height, the way you look. I mean, that's one of the things that's the most disgusting about it was he uses people's looks as a quality of attack, which is something that we here in America have always frowned upon and looked away. And now we have people supporting it and saying, "Oh, she laughs too much." Since when has it been a problem to
Exactly.
laugh too much? I mean, we used to embrace it. That's great, Now, no. So that's the type of thing that it gives me and my wife PTSD because we went through it and we went through it in a time where I was involved in it and part of it, and it gives my wife more PTSD than me because it brings back memories of what we went through. But it's very tough to watch him do it and get away with it. The hardest
Yeah.
part is watching him get away with it and see so much people jump on those bandwagons of
Hmm.
attacking people of color, race, and the way they look, not because of what they stand for or policies that they run on.
I agree 100%. And what's the most ironic thing about it for me is he calls somebody fat when he hasn't seen 215 pounds since he was shitting in a diaper in a crib, and he's currently shitting as a 78-year-old man in a diaper. He talk about people's hair, I've never seen a billionaire, supposed billionaire, who's the most miserable prick in the history of miserable pricks in this country.
Just think
It's
about it.
insane.
And people don't realize that, they think there's a picture of a beautiful family environment. He's
Oh
all
yeah.
alone. He's all alone. Melania is nowhere to be found.
Nowhere.
Ivanka, Jared, nowhere to be found. Eric and Junior, they're trying to make money off cryptocurrency while, before he goes to prison because real estate obviously is out of the picture after their conviction and that they're dealing with. So, I mean, this is the only person right now that took the reins is Lara Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Which, by the way, she was the original, if you listen to Michael Cohen, the original horse face, which he called Stormy Daniels, he called
Yeah,
her horse face before Stormy.
yeah. I mean,
But the
but
smile in
that's
the
okay.
face.
But that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Terrible. Okay. We both don't care too much for old Rudy Kaludi Giuliani. If Trump loses, what do you think the final miserable years of this prick's life is going to be?
Well, he's already seeing them. They're already, I mean, the first step of that accountability was amazing to see that the judge finally ordered. And this week, Shane Moss and Ruby Freeman are finally going to start seeing some retribution for what he did in their lives and caused them to go through. So that's going to be a major event in his life because it's not even the money that he's going to lose, the memorabilia and all that stuff that Rudy has acquired, especially the watch collections. I know Andrew's trying to save the rings. I don't think that's going to work too much either because that's his main prize collection. That's going to be very difficult. And I think what he's going through right now. But when Trump loses, Rudy Kaludi is going to end up behind a prison cell. That's
Good.
going to be his, and again, like yes, inside somewhere, I feel like, this was a somewhere he did have good in him sometime somewhere, but at the same time, he deserves every little thing that's coming to him and more because the hate that he's inspired in this country, the damage that he's caused by doing the craziness and supporting this maniac. I don't think there's a penalty that is equivalent for him or Trump to go forward.
Okay. Maybe you can have a postcard slid under his cell like he did yours. You could tell him, don't drop the fucking soap.
Oh, I promise you that I will definitely sit there in the courtroom. I'm not. I will definitely want to face him. Not like was cowardly that couldn't even face me.
Exactly. If Trump were to win, what do you see happening to you? Because we both know he has a list of people he wants to take revenge on. And I know you and I are on the list, but I no doubt you're higher on the list than I'm on the list. I'm down here, you're way up on top. But what do you think would happen if he wins to somebody
I
like you?
mean, it's really scary. I try not to think about it. I think about only positive ways because if you start thinking about all the things that could happen to you or what I went through, and depression could be very quick and very easily. So that's why I don't even go into those rabbit holes. And I think positive, and I think that we're going to win, and things are going to be positive and move forward. And God has a better and a bigger plan for all of this, and is not going to allow this country to go. And I truly believe that the United States of America and the American people will not allow a tyrant, dictator, mob boss run our country. So I don't try not to think about that. But in reality, I do. And, it's a scary moment. Me and my wife tried not to speak, but speak about it because it's
Yeah.
something that, I don't even know what to expect because it's not even Trump winning. It's who Trump will put into office of power. Who's going to be the DOJ? Who's going to be the Attorney General? Is it going to
Mm-hmm.
be Michael Flynn? Is it going to be Kash Patel? Is it who's going to be, which nut is going to be placed in power that is going to then decide, okay, these are the people I'm going to go after. And, and it's not just me, but it's reporters. It's it's funny how they fight for the First Amendment. They're talking about First Amendment, but the first people on their list are television and reporters that
Yep.
have been reporting against them to
Yeah.
destroy the First Amendment. So it's scary, Brad. I mean, what can I tell you? But you know what? That's not going to deter me from fighting to the last day. I mean, and I truly believe we're going to win, and and this country deserves it. So, I'm gonna hope that does not happen.
Okay. That's fair. Um, Captain Venmo, Matt Gates. You think he's ever going to see justice?
It's interesting the quietness from him. I don't know if you've noticed that
I
in the
have.
past, and it started when all of a sudden that the investigation in Congress picked up again, and so they start picking up his Venmo, and I think he's definitely there. There's definitely something there. Again, I don't want to go into as much as I don't like Captain Venmo, and I think he deserves, and I know certain things that he was a part of, and his partying and his stuff during the elections, but. Um, I hope justice comes out. I hope that people that he doesn't scathe through the holes because of the money and the power that he's been able to obtain while he's been around Trump. But the telltale is that he's been quiet and he's not around Trump in these past past 2 months. The two major voices that you don't hear too much around Trump is Marjorie Greene since her fallout with Laura Loomer
Yep.
and Matt Gaetz since the whole congressional came up with underage Venmo
Yeah.
receipts.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great question, and I think obviously I think there's going to be a lot of accountability if the Democrats get the House and we win, I think there's going to be not only for people like Matt Gaetz, but definitely like James Comer, people
Jim
like
Jordan.
Jim Jordan, Bill Barr, and the list goes on. There's plenty, and that's what I hope for. So absolutely, I think there will be retribution and will be accountability.
Okay. What was your partner's name in the documentary? What is his name?
Igor Fruman,
Yeah, where is
Igor.
he today? What's going on with him?
We don't stay in touch. We chose different paths. You
Okay.
remember his attorney is currently Trump's attorney.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so they still share the same attorney. And he's down in Miami. He's still also on probation. He running a restaurant. He has. I'm not gonna dox him. So but
I
yeah, he's
got you.
doing his
Yeah,
thing.
no, I'm not trying to dox him or anything. I was just curious because he was like honestly, he was like a character out of Central Casting, to be honest with
I mean that was Igor. I mean,
you. Yeah,
and that's and that's something that in the movie they see, like and Julie. It wasn't like we were hiding who we were.
right.
Giuliani knew who we were. Trump knew who we were. I mean, Trump used to call us "my guys," like
Yeah,
when he see it, like So that's to say, if Trump could trust guys like us, and I'm not saying I'm a bad guy, but still, I'm not somebody that's capable of dealing, and Igor definitely was not capable of dealing in the stuff that we were in charge of. Think about who would be doing it today if he takes office. I mean, just and back then there were guardrails. Remember,
yeah,
there were certain. Now there's none.
right, right. If and I'm gonna say when I want to stay positive, when Vice President Harris wins, what is your hope for the country? I think you kind of alluded to it earlier about coming together, obviously. I
I
mean,
mean,
but
that's the
but it's
biggest thing.
gonna. I still believe, Lev, with that question before you answer, that the MAGA they're not gonna do it. They're gonna stay as long as Trump stays alive. They're gonna roll with him with all the insanity. But people that the independents or the people that may be married to someone MAGA, but they're going to go in the voting booth and they're going to vote for Harris. They're not going to tell us, but they don't like it, but they're stuck in a relationship of a marriage of 30 years that they got to kind of hold their nose or just shake their head or whatever the case would be.
Not
What's
Brad,
your hope?
not even marriage. I'll tell you, there's a lot of couples and people that are, because you have to understand, we've been entrenched in the Trump cult for 8 years. People have moved and are living in society. Their kids go to school, they work and play. So for 8 years, so these people are tired also, but they have nowhere to go. They can't just wake up like I did and say, okay, I'm going to get rid of everybody. My kids are not going to go to school. We're going to change all our friends. So yeah, they themselves are going to be, yeah, they might be rah rah now. They might be up in the open saying, yes, we support Trump. But when they go in that booth, they're also going to be voting Kamala Harris because and I believe in that, and I see a
I do
lot of
too.
that as I speak about. But the main thing, like I said, and I think that we need, and it's going to happen, is the division to stop. Once Trump is, and I agree with you, just by having Trump lose, it's not going to end overnight. Just like what Trump's saying, I'm going to stop the war in Ukraine overnight. I mean, it's foolish to think anything, because this has been a process that has gone on and has infected our country for over 8 years, so almost a decade. So yes, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to weave out, but I think it's going to go quickly because I think Trump's going to go to prison. I think Giuliani and a lot of these people are going to go to prison. I think the congressional hearings and the accountability will be held for people that did the cover up, like the Bill Barrs and the Jordans and all of these people. They're going to have problems, and I think with that happening, I think that will be a major part of shutting down that mega cult movement and putting it away. And then yes, and then it's going to take. I think we're going to have to go through maybe several elections before we get to actual normality into a country where we were before, because the division is so crazy right now that it's nothing is going to change overnight, except for it will be a beginning of prosperity and unity.
Okay. Final question today, Lev. What would you like people to remember when we go to where we go after, when we pass on? Hopefully, I'm going up this way, even though my buddy Anthony Scaramucci said we're going to want him and I are winded up in purgatory. I disagree with Anthony. I'm going to heaven. I'll go visit Anthony in purgatory. But what would you like the records to show? Like the Sinatra song, Let the Record Show. What
you
would you like it
know,
to show about you, Lev?
you know what? I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. I lived my life, but I've always tried to do the right thing, even in different situations I was in life. And I want the records to show that, I was able to be a major part of making sure to save our democracy against this tyrant, Donald Trump. And hopefully that's what the record will show, that, once we get rid of him, that people like you, me, and people that stood up to this, tyrant, knowing that he's openly saying he's going to come and get every single one of us. I think that will something huge for our democracy for centuries to come, because what's happening now, we're still living history. Just like we talk about what happened in Watergate, when we talk about what happened with the Lincoln assassinations and all of that, this is going to be probably bigger than to overtake any of the history that we've ever been in, because of all the things that transpired. I mean, you can't we wouldn't have time on your show to go over all of the different historical things that Trump did, from the impeachments to the insurrections to, going after world leaders to, I mean, you could go on and on. So this is going to be a huge part of history. And I hope the history is written where we were on the right side, which we are, and that we prevailed, and, and that we won.
Okay. Give the viewers your social media platforms, where to find you.
Yeah, guys, follow me on at Lev Parnas on Twitter, and on TikTok and on YouTube. And you should definitely read the book before you go out and vote, or because if you saw the movie, it goes into a little bit of what actually Donald Trump is all about. You could get it on Amazon. It's called Shadow Diplomacy. And just follow me, because I'll be giving out reports and keep fighting the fight against this tyrant.
All right, brothers. Good having you on again. Let's stay in touch, and hopefully we will be celebrating November 5th, 6th, or 7th, whenever they call this election, and at least keeping him out of the White House. It's not going to end him, like we said earlier, but at least for 4 years, we know he's not there. Democracy stands in those 4 years.
My brother, I just want to thank you for having me on and fighting the fight. And I just can't wait for us to finally start having some of these interviews where we could start celebrating. So I can't wait till November 6th, 7th, till we start coming on and talking about a brighter future, and stop worrying about what if. And, it's like that song, The Wicked Witch is Gone. We're going to sing it.
That's it.
So thank you, man, for having me.
All right. The best to your family and holidays and everything. And we'll talk soon, brother.
You got it.
All right. Take care.